Hi friends, welcome back to another reading vlog. It is a very wintry weekend here, and yes, we got a lot of snow, and I am planning to just stay inside all day today and read. And yeah, so we're reading The Arctic Fury by Greer MaCallister, which is a historical fiction with a feminist lens. And I got this book at the end of 2020 and have not read it yet, and I thought this weekend was the perfect time to read it because The Arctic Fury is about a group of women who travel on this expedition north into the Arctic Circle. Keep in mind, this is a historical fiction and it is taking place in the 1850s, 1854, I believe, 1853 to 1854. So mid-19th century, and it is unheard of for women to be exploring, let alone going to the Arctic Circle. I thought with how cold and snowy it is this weekend, it was time to finally read this book, and I'm halfway through. I just made it to the 200-page mark. I started reading it last night and I've been kind of sucked in ever since. I'm really enjoying the plot and the characters and the dialogue. And something really interesting also about this book is that it jumps between present day and past day. So there's also a little bit of courtroom drama going on in this book because the head of the expedition, the leader, her name is Virginia, and she has an expedition of 12 other women, so there's 13 altogether. And Virginia was basically commissioned, asked by this woman named Lady Jane Franklin, who's a very important part of the elite class, whose husband is also an explorer and has gone missing in the Arctic Circle. And so many past expeditions have went to go find him and have failed, and they were all led by men. So Lady Jane Franklin had a new idea to have an all-women-led expedition go look for her husband. And if they're going into the Arctic Circle, what could possibly go wrong? And we're quickly told at the beginning of the book is that not everybody comes back from this expedition, so there are deaths. And I think that's where the interesting jumping point is between, it jumps from the courtroom to the actual expedition, and you kind of get clues as to things that happened, and then you slowly learn what actually happened. So I'm really enjoying that, and the courtroom dialogue is really good as well. It's very quick pace. The other thing I really love is that all of the different female characters, they all have their own little unique traits and background and quirks. They come from different classes. Some are British, some are American. Virginia herself is from California, so she's a true American woman, and she has experience leading 500 people in the western expansion in California, which is why Lady Franklin thought she'd be great to go into the Arctic Circle, to go north. So they start in Boston, make their way to Buffalo by train, and then they go by canoe to this port, and then they are currently aboard a ship called the Doris, sailing in the Hudson Bay up north. And that's kind of where I'm at now. It's getting a little dramatic. You can probably assume what could go wrong when you're traveling into the Arctic Circle in the mid-19th century. My goal is to finish this book by Monday, which is the end of January, and that would make me achieve my January reading goal of reading 4 books. So I've read 3 so far. Go me. And yeah, I think at this point I'm probably definitely going to finish this by Monday. I plan to get a good chunk of this read this evening. I have all day tomorrow. Today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday, and then finish it up Monday. So that's very exciting. Reading aside, it's a very chill day. I think I'm gonna take a break from reading and actually do some learning time. I have a Spanish lesson that I need to do, which is just part of my weekly goal to practice Spanish for 30 to 60 minutes. So I'm gonna do a lesson of that, and then I think I'm gonna try and do, I don't know, I want to start a drawing class, like an online class, and I know that's something I want to commit to in February, but I kind of want to start looking for a class and maybe start one or find a tutorial or a short class on YouTube. I don't know. I'm still practicing drawing just kind of randomly and on my own, but I'm ready for more of a like structured curriculum to kind of help me along with that whole journey. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Gonna have a little learning session and probably continue reading. So with that said, friends, grab a cozy seat, cozy beverage. I'm probably gonna make some tea later, and let's carry on, shall we? voiceover Sheila here. So since I ended up not talking in the rest of this video or vlogging after these drawing clips, I thought I would explain what I'm doing in these drawing clips and also share my thoughts on the Arctic Fury because I have finished it and wanted to share what I thought about it. So I am drawing some food. So I found Bardo Brush on YouTube and I really love her classes, and she has a monthly and weekly and daily drawing prompt challenge on her website. It's called Making Art Every Day. I will link it down below if you're interested. And this just helps beginner artists and people beginning their art journey with a list of different things to draw. And every month has kind of a theme. Like this month, I think, is animals. And I went back into the archives and found just like a monthly project, because if you don't want to do something every single day, they do have like a monthly project where it's just one thing to work on that entire month. And one of them was to make an ingredient list or like a recipe kind of drawing piece. And I thought, that's cool, let me try that. And I decided that I would make a strawberry banana smoothie recipe. I ended up looking up the different pictures for the ingredients that I wanted. So like bananas, strawberries, peanut butter, almond milk. And you'll see here I'm sketching out an almond milk carton. So that's some context to what I'm drawing. I never actually finished this piece or really made it into an ingredient or a recipe. I just sketched out all of the different ingredients, which I thought was still fun and helpful for me. So I think I'm going to be starting a lot of projects and never finishing it, but that's definitely a goal of mine, is to actually create a piece and share it. So here's to starting things. And I actually worked on this before I set my February goal to draw every day for a year. If you saw my February goals video, I talked more about that. So once I kind of determined I wanted to draw my sketchbook every day, I kind of abandoned this project, and I'm having more fun just picking out random things and drawing it in my sketchbook. So now I'm actually just drawing animals in my sketchbook every day. So that's really fun for me, learning how to draw different animals, what I like to draw, what I don't like to draw. And yeah, I'm excited for where that takes me. Now on to book talk. I really, really loved The Arctic Fury. Highly recommend it if you're into historical fiction, which I realize I love historical fiction. Like, I mean, you guys watch my videos and you know a lot of the books I read are historical fiction, so I think it's definitely a top tier historical fiction for me, and I really, really recommend it to you guys. And I think it's perfect for the winter time, which I think I already mentioned. And it's still winter, at least here. We're having some really warm days this week in February, but I know it's not going to stay. And then February and March and really the beginning of April is still really cold and very Arctic. So I don't really get to be excited about spring for a little while. So I think it's still a good winter read. One thing that I did notice, because as I work on my own racial identity and thinking about like representation and seeing myself in books and movies and TV, I thought about how I wouldn't necessarily be a character in this book during this time period, like on a historical front, because one, like, mixed people were looked down upon, interracial marriage was taboo and a sin, and just Asian people just were not welcomed in this country. So that was interesting, because I would always see myself in books, or I read historical fiction books and I like place myself there, but I don't know if that's because I am, you know, part white and I like identify with parts of that. But then when I think more about my Asian side, and then as a whole, like as a mixed person, I just wouldn't be there. So that was interesting to think about. And I was also pleasantly surprised, or maybe not, that there were black characters in this book. One of the women that was on the expedition was a black woman. However, she was a maid, so she was not kind of a higher, you know, class, which does make sense historically. And then there was a black sailor that they run into, which was really cool. And then later on in the book, they run into a black family or a black community. So I was like, ooh, representation, kind of exploring, you know, outside of like white people, because at this time period, Manifest Destiny, Western expansion, America was very,
very dominant in going west and stealing land, and that whole like premise of like going north and exploring and conquering lands and finding new things and settling and being the first person, but really the first white person to discover this place, was just the big thing during this time period. And I really enjoy American history. I've always enjoyed American history, and I think that's something that I really enjoy studying, is just like white people going west and thinking that they're the and kind of unpacking that. So that comes up for me in this book. So as I read historical fiction and do more racial identity work and unpacking white supremacy in my own life, these things come into my mind. But yeah, those are my thoughts, friends. Let me know if you have read this book or if you're interested in reading it, or let me know down below what you are currently reading. Now that it's February, I'm focused on reading some books by Black authors, so stay tuned for that in my next reading vlog. And thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone that entered my book giveaway. I didn't get a chance to really speak to that, but I was blown away by how many people entered and commented on that video. I feel so much more connected to you folks, so would love to hear from you again down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!